Sometimes it's easy to lose yourself in your own life. You work hard, you're busy with your job, with the needs of others, and just with life in general. And you wake up one day and all of a sudden you don't even recognize yourself. It's like the you who you were got lost in the shuffle. And that's what happened to my thin thinking guest, Lisa Ferraro, who had a wake up call at a party where her mother toasted her and she didn't even know the person who was being toasted anymore. And then she saw some pictures of herself, and you know those kinds of pictures where you say, "That's me?" So in today's episode, we hear not only how Lisa went on a weight journey and released 50 pounds, but she rediscovered herself and started creating the life that was going to allow her to be her best Lisa. What steps did she take to do that? Well, come on in and find out for yourself and get inspired. Did you know that our struggle with weight doesn't start with the food on your plate or get fixed in the gym? 80% of our weight struggle is mental. That's right. The key to unlocking long-term weight release and management begins in your mind. Hi there, I'm Rita Black. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist, weight loss expert, best-selling author, and the creator of the Shift Weight Mastery process. And not only have I helped thousands of people over the past 20 years achieve long-term weight mastery, I am also a former weight struggler, carb addict, and binge eater. And after 2 decades of failed diets and fad weight loss programs, I lost 40 pounds with the help of hypnosis. Not only did I release all that weight, I have kept it off for 25 years. Enter the Thin Thinking podcast, where you too will learn how to remove the mental roadblocks that keep you struggling. I'll give you the thin thinking tools, skills, and insights to help you develop the mindset you need, not only to achieve your ideal weight, but to stay there long term and live your best life. Hello, hello, hello. Come on in. And as this episode is dropping, a bit of a historic moment for me. I am heading up north to see my baby girl, my little baby girl, graduate from college. It's such a big turning point in my life to have a child exiting the educational system for a while, at least. I have to laugh at all the documenting of the occasion that is being done. She had a special photo session, on the campus. It seems like at Berkeley, they have when you graduate, everybody gets their picture taken, special graduation photos. And then we as a family are having photos taken because my husband's 88-year-old, soon to be 89-year-old mother and his sister and brother are all going to be there. And we haven't been together as a family in a long time. So it's a big chance to have a photo op. But I remember when I graduated from college back in the day, I have only one photo of graduating from college, which was a really bad Polaroid picture that was taken of me and my 2 roommates in front of the arch at Washington Square Park when we graduated from NYU all those many years ago. And so that's my graduation picture. So it's interesting, at least how, I don't know if it is with every college, but it just seems to me there's so much coverage of the graduation itself and the graduate. So, for me, back in that day when I was seriously struggling with my weight, I was happy that half of me was even out of that picture. I was always struggling with my weight and horrified to be in any picture. And so I hid behind everybody, everything, and it's funny. I don't know if you had this, but I have so many students that tell me this, that they look back at photos of themselves, and I even look back at that half picture of myself and I think, why was I so hard on myself? I was, how old was I? I was 21 years old, and maybe I didn't have the perfect figure, but I was beautiful, I was just beautiful because I was young and full of hope. And, So many students tell me the same. They look back and they're like, why was I so hard on myself? Like, I was so beautiful in so many ways. Why could I only look at that one aspect and see all the flaws? So, which brings me to my special guest, Lisa Ferraro, has released 50 pounds with the shift weight mastery process. And she is going to walk us through her story of transformation, which started by seeing herself in some photos as well. Now, if you're interested in making your own transformation this coming week, I am offering just this week, special only, my self-study version of the 30-day online shift weight mastery process with hypnosis, meditation, and coaching. So it's a 30-day process. And I'm offering a special additional program called the Shift Weight Express, which is 5 of my top downloads. So that's a bonus, including portion control, exercise, and a drinking less for weight release, and including over $800 worth of bonuses. So check out the show notes if you're interested in how this 30-day hypnosis-based transformational process can change your life. So, like I said, link is in the show notes. And now let's talk to Lisa. Well, hello, Lisa, and welcome to the Thin Thinking podcast. I'm so happy to have you on today.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Lisa has been on quite a journey with her weight release, and she is now figuring out maintenance, which I always think is such a interesting time. And so I do want to talk to you about that transition, but I want to get to know the beginning of your journey. Like everybody always likes to know when did you start struggling with weight, and just tell us, the origin story of your journey.
I had my child when I was 39, and I think it was going through perimenopause. So after I had her, I really struggled with weight, and I was never able to get back to my pre-pregnancy weight. And I've struggled from that point on. I was always able to, before that point, if go back and forth, but it was not a crazy amount of weight. And I feel that I gained a lot of weight during the pregnancy, and then I released a little bit after, but not as much as I could have. And I just struggled with that for probably about 20 years now. So
Prior
that
to
was
that, can I ask, prior to that, you never really struggled with your weight prior to your pregnancy?
the only time was in college. I gained the 25 or whatever, but after college, I had no problem getting rid of it and getting back into real life, so to speak, and working and all that. So no, I really didn't. But
So for you, it was that pregnancy, but plus then it sounds like after your pregnancy, you went into perimenopause and started going through the change.
yes, so about that was probably I turned 40 the next year after she was born. So yes, from then on, it seemed like I kept gaining weight and just had that big struggle. It was 40 pounds, 50 pounds. Then I'd lose 10. I just did it, all the diet cycles and struggled with that, trying to find a way to release it permanently. And you get on the diet, you go off the diet, and you gain it all back and then some. So yeah, it's been real.
Yeah. So how did you find the shift, and were you looking for hypnosis, or did you just happen upon the shift? Like, I'm curious because I actually don't know the answer to that question.
I watch Instagram, and I found you on Instagram. And at that time, I had had my 60th birthday. It was June. And I had sent it out to the universe, as I always do, and said, I really need something that works, because my mom did a speech at my my birthday party, and she reflected on my life and what I used to be, my spirit and all that, and it kind of got lost along the way. So I wanted to rediscover that, as well as release the weight from seeing pictures. You don't really know how much you weigh until those pictures come into place. So there was a lot of pictures, and I just, it was like kind of a wake up call. And I know I'm going into the golden years. So I just really needed to start taking care of myself. And then I happened upon you, and the hypnosis really intrigued me. I had looked into that prior a little bit. I was going to go to a therapist, and it didn't transpire. So I didn't know if I could be hypnotized. And when it first started, I would fall asleep, and yeah, a lot of people ask that question to you, is it working? And you reassured us that it was. And then you gave us tips to not fall asleep. So I took those, and slowly I began to really become hypnotized. So I really think that has been a big part of the shift for me, as well as the meditations. I love meditation, and you're really wonderful at it. Just the hypnotist, when you take us down that staircase and you go to the place, your shift place, it's just wonderful. And you can really envision it. And I've in the visions, I think that was a big key for me, being able to envision what I wanted, and also the model thing you gave to see what we would look like at a certain point. And I kept doing that at certain, I did a 10, 20, 30, 40, and then 50. So it was a progression, and it was it was so inspiring to see I'm really doing this visually. And then
Yeah.
so, yeah.
That is interesting. So I just so for our listeners who aren't familiar with the shift process or with what this app that you're talking about, that's the app you were talking about that I
Yeah.
have in the program. Yeah. And I didn't create the app, but there are many people, part of what in the shift, we really focus on creating a vision of where we're going, and uh, us at our ideal weight, but also beyond that. And what Lisa's talking about is there's this app that because a lot of people who haven't been at their ideal weight in a long time, you lose that idea. And the cool thing about the app is, and I'll put a link to the app in the show notes. I think it's called Model Me.
Yes.
Not
Yes.
exactly. Yeah, it's called Model Me.
Yes.
It's the Model Me app, and you can put your age in. So it's not, because I think we all have a vision of us at our ideal weight as youngsters, like as a 20-year-old or a 30-year-old. But to have that realistic vision of you at your current age, and to take you in like step by step, like you're saying, like from 50 pounds above your ideal weight, and progress it slowly. I think it does something to the brain too. It kind of calms the brain down, and you can see, because I think we get uh the word isn't upset, but anxious, like I
Discover.
can't see it, discouraged.
Yeah. I agree. I really do. And it was nice to see that progression. It wasn't, oh, yeah, this is what I'll be when I'm 50. I did it as I was losing. So it was very encouraging to see the
Yeah,
progress.
I also loved what you said, and because we were having a conversation about this, I don't know if you were at this particular monthly mastery meeting, but we were talking about being older and being, I'm going to be 60 this year, and I know you're in your 60s. We both have daughters who are graduating college this year. I think I had my daughter when I was 38, so I'm not far behind you. But how we kind of, in that child rearing, even if we don't have children, in the frenetic life pace, and just paying bills, living life, we lose that sense of who we are, what we are, our inner essence, our inner source. And I know for a lot of people who come into the process, a lot of it is about not just the weight, but and this I emphasize this all the time, is about creating that more powerful conversation with yourself, which I think opens the door to self-discovery and really rediscovering how amazing you are and amazing your interests and capturing that spark that we have when we're younger. And then, but in this last meeting, we were talking about 68 because there were a lot of people who were 68 and we're like, 68, how, cool and amazing it is. Like, because I think there's also this thing about how women become invisible. Like, it seems like you become so invisible to other people, but not to ourselves. That's the most important thing. But I think we become invisible to ourselves and we have to rediscover who we are and come back to that. So I do think that meditation hypnosis can help you find that inner self and reawaken. Sounds
Oh, it,
like that.
yes, definitely worked that for me. It really did. And yeah, I'm so grateful. Like that spirit that I didn't think was there anymore just came to life. So it was a great experience for me in the last 8 months.
Okay, yeah. In 8 months, you released 50 pounds. What was that experience like, as far as, take our listeners through your triumphs and your struggles? Because I think it's important for people to understand, like, if you had to talk about the different phases of your weight release process, because I think out in the diet world, we're like, go on a diet, lose weight, and achieve your ideal weight. And then, you fly off into the universe as this unicorn. Um, but but would you agree that there are phases to a weight release cycle, a true long-term weight journey where maybe walk through some of your phases that you had to go through?
I think the biggest one for me was the belief that
Mhm.
really believing that I could accomplish my goal, the ideal weight. I struggled with that probably for the first half of the journey. So really communicating with my inner coach and the rebel and the critic. I mean, fighting them, calming them, calming them down, and um, just trusting in the process of and and I've always looked for that quick fix. So it was learning to be patient and seeing the results and over the longer term. As you do with, I've only released so much weight, but if you look at it over a month, well, you really are on target. You've released the weight that you wanted to. Um, so I think it was for me to really be learn how to be patient, listen to my and trust myself, listen to my inner coach, develop that relationship because that relationship was non-existent, and really I think it was just to be have that positivity that I used to have all the time, and I just lost it. So it was rediscovering that and really helping me uh, join into really join the journey. You kind of separate yourself from the journey when you're on that. I got to lose it fast. And if I don't do it, then I think I took a lot of that pressure off as I was going along. And at first, it was the pressure of that. Will I be able to be hypnotized? Well, is this going to work? I really enjoyed the 30-day shift. It really did. I just want to say about this journey and all the material and tools you give us. You touch upon every single thing I think that a person would go through on a journey like this. I mean, it might not be something that everyone needs or experiences, but you bring it up and it sometimes touches you really, and then sometimes you kind of think about it. And I don't know. I just feel that it's been quite a journey, and that the struggle for me was just believing in myself and patience.
I love
So
that. That was, I think that that's something that we don't really think about is one, the belief. Uh, I think that's a decision. I was speaking with Kelly on another podcast, Kelly Simmons, who's also in our community, and she was, you literally have to decide to believe in yourself.
Mhm. I
It's a
agree.
decision,
It
you
is.
know.
Once you do that, I think the journey becomes easier. Not that you're not going to come up against other things or different things or scenarios that you encounter on the journey, but I think when you believe in yourself, or that you make that decision, that the journey isn't as hard, and you can figure it out. You can, like you say, the inner scientist, and you kind of touch upon what's going on. You check in instead of checking out, and I think that's really a big part of the whole positivity and believing in yourself. And yeah.
Well, I think it's what you're touching upon is and highlighting really well this relationship with your inner coach, because I
Mhm.
think when we don't believe in ourselves, we are kind of stuck in this world where we're very lonely because we don't have any powerful voice like connecting with us. When we do connect with that inner coach, we all of a sudden have somebody advocating for us and believing in us, right? And that is such a powerful feeling. And then once you have that in your coach in your corner, then I think that gives you the resilience in those moments where you would normally, like you said, disconnect from yourself. Like, I think it's staying connected versus disconnecting, right? Like, oh, you blew it, start
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Yes, you try to figure out why. Why did I overeat, or what situation were I in? What was I feeling? And you kind of connect all the dots. And then you try to figure out the best way to approach that the next time. Like you say, rewiring that brain to keep going and to figure it out. And the inner scientist, I love the inner scientist. I'm a numbers person, so once I was able to figure out the calories and the energy in, the energy out, it just like made so much sense to me. And
Mm,
that thing that really helped me along the journey is really investigating. I love to investigate things, so it
yeah,
was
I
yeah.
think that all those pieces of the puzzle, being able to observe your behaviors from a scientific standpoint, and that takes you out of the emotional brain and into the rational brain, right? So we can make decisions, say, oh, I went over, but I didn't go over that much. So, I'm on track, like being able to talk yourself down out of the tree. Because I think the thing that the diet industry and dieting and the diet cycle rob us of is that ability to make those teeny tiny changes in the moment. Because I think, like you said, you expect to come and like lose the weight fast and then just be done and get on with your life and never have to think about it again, rather than cultivating a very powerful internal relationship with yourself where you're making those smaller changes. And I mean, anybody who, I always say, has mastered something in your life, and I know you've mastered many things in your life, it didn't happen overnight. And it was a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time. So,
Yeah. Work. I think the work is, but it's in increments. It's not a big, it's not a big task. You just look at the day, you look at the week, you look at them. You know what I mean? So you're kind of breaking it up, and you're taking one day at a time, and one moment at a time. So you really connect with that. I really think so. That was very helpful for me. It made me kind of slow down in my life and my thinking, and it has helped me lose weight. It really has. Just being that aware, and yes, and being rational with the
what,
scientists.
what about food? Like, how has over going through this process and releasing 50 pounds, how has your relationship with food changed?
I had to kill my carb zombie. for sure.
For those of you who don't know about the carb zombie, uh, we have a carb zombie who lives in our head. And when we're eating too
Oh,
many sugar and refined carbohydrates, that zombie kind of runs the show. So she's just
my-
talking about we learn how to hibernate our carb zombie. But go ahead.
yeah, I'm not so much of a sweet tooth, but I love all the crackers and pizza and pasta, and I could, yes. So that was my diet. I didn't, yeah,
Mm,
but no, I love vegetables and I love fruit, but I always was overdoing it with the carbs, and I went on keto. I did all those types of diets, but then when I went, you get to that certain point, and then you just carb out. And I didn't know how to tame that monster, so it
right.
was nice to be able to really look at that. That was another thing that really helped me, and learn to the portion control and being able to look at something and your hunger, the your scale there where you can gauge your hunger and stop and know that it's okay to stop, and
Mm.
you're full and you've had enough, and it's time to move on to something else. You've eaten your dinner.
Well, but it sounds like you've kind of created your own way forward because obviously we don't give a diet during the shift process, but we just give guidance and pointers. So you feel like you've taken your love of fruits and vegetables, but also turned down the volume on the carbs and turned up the volume on the good stuff so that you can feel more even keeled and be
Yes,
more in control.
more protein, like it's just more of a balance for me. I think that really helped, but yes, the carbs were, and the carb zombie was in control, so it
Yeah.
was able to calm that down. My life.
Yeah, I think, and just to speak about the carb zombie and carbs in general, I mean, I don't think anybody is ever going to live their life carb free, and we aren't,
Oh,
that isn't the goal. The goal is to look at our diet and to learn, well, what works for me and what doesn't, in how many amounts and at what time, so that we're the ones designing our way of eating that is really about our freedom rather than this other part of our brain running the show. And
exactly.
because I think people get into this head of like, I can't eat sugar, I can't eat carbs. And I don't think that's necessarily true. I think it's just everybody, and even more and more research is coming out that every single person has a different relationship to food and their body chemistry and their genetics, and all of those things come into play. And there's no right or wrong for any one person. We have to kind of create our own way forward. So it sounds like you're still playing with those levers. It sounds
Yes.
like as you are getting into maintenance, you're now being able to eat some more food, and you're playing with those levers of how much
Yeah.
can I have and how much more.
Yeah.
How's that experience been? And with figuring that out, and along with exercise too, because I know, did you increase your exercise when you went through the shift, or were you already exercising?
No, I wasn't exercising. I started walking, and I'm amazed at how much I didn't move during the day. I probably did 2,500 steps a day, and that was, well, go to work, walk around the office a little bit, come home, sit in my chair, go to the fridge, sit down, go to bed. So, and that was slowly, I had my goals and I slowly increased it. I'm now at 13,000 a day, and that is what all I've really done. I'd like to incorporate some weight training and some yoga, stretching. I love to stretch, and as we get older, I think that's key to keeping yourself uh, injury free. So yeah, but I'm very excited and about just the ability to just walk and see how much that made a difference, along with everything else. But I was amazed that I could lose that weight and could deficit, and you play around with the exercise and the calories and figure that out. So
Right. Well, I mean, how did you factor in exercise? Because I know you're busy, you work full time. I think a lot of people would say, I don't have time to exercise. How did you make that work for you?
I'd walk at lunch. I get up every hour and walk 250 steps.
Wow.
Um, and then at night, I'd walk around my kitchen and I just walk around, walk around, walk around. I have a big area that it's like doing a lap. So I would just get my steps in. And now I'm doing the stairs and trying to incorporate a little bit more cardio. But
I
yeah,
love
it was slowly getting up to 10,000. That was my big goal. And then I said, oh, I can do more. Right. So yeah, I just walk when I can. And because I work 9 to 5 and I just walk. And the weekends, I really try to walk a lot more because I have more time. But yeah, it's
that.
been great to just be able to see the progress of being able to walk. And I feel great. Just that bit of, just that type of exercise. And I've bought a rowing machine and also a treadmill. So yes. So those are the things I'm going to start
Mm.
using.
You're gonna work up to that. I know. I'm thinking about getting a rowing machine myself. I'm listening to. I think I've mentioned this on the podcast or maybe in our groups, but I'm listening to this book Outlive by Dr. Peter Attia right now, and his exercise requirements. I'll be talking about this on other podcasts. Are like he's like, if you want to hold on to your health, you need to be doing this and this. I was like, oh, I was doing, oh. But I think walking is the best because you can just do it anytime, anywhere. I love what you did was you broke it down. And I think that is the way for anybody who says, I can't do exercise. I mean, just the other day, I just had a crazy day and I just said, okay, I'm just going to break this up. I'll do 10 minutes here. I'll do 10 minutes there. I'll do 10 minutes there. Boom, got it done. And it wasn't that hard, but you kind of have to approach it. You have to approach it like a scientist. Like you said, you just have to kind of look at this like, how can I make this work? It's possible, but where do I begin? How do I start? And I love that a lot for like a lot of people, you started with a certain amount of steps and you built up. It wasn't like, I've got to do 13,000 steps from the
Yeah.
get-go. You built up to it. And that's incredibly important.
And I just want to share my mom's been ill and I had to be with her in the hospital a lot. And I would just walk around the hospital and
Mm.
people would be, let me help you like 42 billion times. And I'd be like, no, I'm just getting my steps in. Walk around, walk around, walk around, up and down, all around. So when she was sleeping or whatever, I'd do it whenever I could. And I was able to get my steps in. So it's a matter, I think, of just figuring it out, uh, in increments. So yeah, that was that was
Wow.
um that was a learning experience too. That can I do this? Am I going to get my steps in or whatever? So
Is your mom better? Is she out of the hospital now?
yeah, we've had a really long winter. She was in
Oh.
twice, once in the fall and once in the winter. So
Mm,
yeah,
I'm so
she
sorry.
she's home now. So she's rehabbing and getting better. But yeah,
I'm
but those
sorry.
up as well. And the shift helped me navigate through those type of times too, as far as the technique of breathing and being in the moment and being the caregiver and all that. So it was helpful for me to be going through the shift as I was um, helping my mom.
That's so great. Speaking of relatives and your mom, how has your decision to take care of yourself and to release weight impacted other people in your life? You mentioned your daughter. Like, did that impact, like, did you have to ask for support from her or anybody else in your life?
No, I don't. We are. My husband's very easy. Like he'll do the shopping. He'll go get me whatever I want.
So he's
If
supportive.
he's supportive, he bought me a new Fitbit. You know what I mean? And
Oh,
was when I started the journey, was walking when she was home over the summer with me. And I don't know, I just tweak my food when they eat, or if we eat pizza, I know what I can eat and what I can't. And so I've learned. So it's I don't have a lot of junk in my house, so
Yeah.
it wasn't a matter of having to no, yeah, no, my daughter's not home and she doesn't eat a lot of junk. And my husband, we never really were dessert people or cookie people. I did have to get the crackers and the pretzels and all that stuff out, but nobody really eats it but me. So once I
Isn't
got
that
that out, yeah.
isn't that funny? We buy that stuff thinking, oh, this is for the household. We're not like really taking ownership, like this is actually for me.
Right. Or
Because you have to have crackers in your house just in case the company comes over,
right. And
right?
some cheese and all kinds of dips and whatever. But yeah, we had a couple parties over the holidays, so I got a lot of that stuff, and I had a lot of leftover stuff too that was just sitting around that I had to, okay, you need to throw this out. You're not going to eat it. So that
Mm.
just the mindset. You have to kind of get it out, the gack.
How how is now that you're at maintenance and you've been at maintenance a couple of months,
Mhm.
how has it changed not focusing on weight release? How has that been? Has that been weird? Has that been
Yes.
so talk to us a little bit about that, because I think people don't realize that hitting maintenance is kind of confronting for a lot of people, because it's just like, because we're so focused on weight release. And when you get
Yeah.
to this place where the scale is not supposed to move anymore, it's a
Yes.
different journey.
It really is. It was I was a little scared because was I going to be able to do it? And I'm still figuring out. I think it's a journey. I think for the
It
rest of
is.
my I think it's a thought process, and you really have to be present with it. But yes, and I'm still figuring it out. But I think that um, it's just I love the portion control and all the things that we kind of all the meetings we have, different subjects you touch on, because it's really helpful. But yeah, I think I am like I'm just starting to figure it out. So the first thing was, oh no, I don't have a goal, but my goal is to maintain. That's the goal. But I don't have to lose any weight. And I gave myself a range to stay within. And if I gain too much, or I to like 5 pounds, I think I'd be good. I'm 5 foot tall, and so it's I should be children size meals when you think about it. And so I just it's been that learning curve, and just trying to navigate how to stay in the budget, figure out the budget, and not release anymore. And you have that mindset. So I got down to 118, and then I'm like, yeah, that's not. I need to stay at 100, at least 120, and then if I go down, but then go up, you know what I mean. So it's been going up and down between like 3 or 4 pounds. So it's kind of
I
and
think that that's normal. That's
yeah,
usually what I say, to give yourself 5 pounds above and 5 pounds below your ideal weight, because it will, like, you'll cycle through different
yeah.
phases.
But I feel so good, and it's just amazing. I went in through my closet of all my summer clothes, and I just can't believe how many things that I had. I pretty much had to give everything away.
Wow.
So yeah, I have to buy a whole new wardrobe, and my clothes are hanging on me that I have from the winter. I've bought a few things, but it's such a great feeling to just be able to realize that I weigh less than I did when I had my daughter, before I had my daughter. So it's amazing. I weigh what I weighed in high school, and I have
Yeah.
yeah. So it's crazy. It's just crazy.
Well,
And that,
I'm sorry, I interrupted you. And what?
no, I'm just like over the moon about it. And
Oh,
um, yeah, yeah, I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of, um, learning how to stick with this and listen to myself. And it's just a wonderful program. I'm just so grateful for it. Yeah.
well, you made the decision and you went on the journey. I think one thing I wanted to say about your maintenance journey, just to say to you, and if listeners want to listen, um, that I think maintenance, it takes almost like 6 months to a full year to start to really feel that confidence. Because I think what happens, it's kind of like with smoking when people quit smoking too. I always say to them, I say, it kind of takes that full year. I mean, you can love being a non-smoker and feel great, but I think you have to go through the seasons, you have to go through the holidays, you know, you have to go through your birthday, you have to go through all those things and know, okay, I got this. Okay, I just maintained through my birthday. I got this. I just maintained through a really stressful time like you did with your mom in the hospital. Okay, I got this. And you get those milestones in you, and then you own it. But I think it takes a little while to really get it in your bones, get it in your psyche completely, and to have that ownership. So it does come. Like, I know it feels very tender and vulnerable that first year, but you can tell in people, you can hear in Lisa speaking how she is communicating with herself, that is the most powerful and important piece of it. It's not what's going on in the scale. It's she has cultivated this way of communicating with herself that is powerful and will help her stay resilient through those times. So, Lisa, I have one last question for you. Um, what would be the first step that you would, I always ask everybody this, what would be the first step that you would advise anyone considering making a big change in their life like you have to take? Like what would be that first step that you would have, like what would you say to take? Like what was, I mean, not signing up for the chef, but I just mean like what is that like first step that you took before like that inner thing?
I think it was just, for me, it was just rekindling myself, like finding myself again. That person, like you said, as we get older, women feel invisible. And I really felt invisible because we're not in any, like, it feels like we don't have any, I don't know, bucket or whatever, but it's just like, we're like, I don't know, it's a weird place to be. And it was really nice when I heard the words my mom was speaking about me, and and all the memories she brought up about me, the things I hadn't thought about in years and years. And I think that the one thing I think is to find that one thing, or that thing that will rekindle your relationship with yourself, because I think that was the one thing that really, I told her that. I said that to my mom. I said, you got the fire underneath me again. And I think that um, your program just fell in, it just came to me, and it was just meant to be. So I just feel like it was a process of not feeling invisible anymore and finding how not to be for
That's
myself, you
what a
know.
great gift your mom gave you.
Oh my
She
goodness.
she opened the door.
You
I love
did.
that.
You
That's
did.
great.
Yes.
It's that is so powerful. I love that. I hope I can do that I mean, I know your daughter is graduating from college, and I hope, you hope as a parent you can open doors for your kids, but it's so great that your mom did that for you. That's
Oh,
amazing.
I know. She's a great person.
I
She
hope
really.
as you know, because I have a vision of being 100 and being,
Yeah.
because I had children late. I hope on my daughter's 60th birthday and my son's 60th birthday to open that door for
Me
them
too.
too.
I'd love. Wouldn't it? Oh my.
I'll see you at 100 and something, all right?
Would be wonderful to see their children and their grandchildren, and yeah.
Yeah.
Would.
Very powerful. And I think there's a whole new consciousness about getting older. And I don't see turning 60 or being in your 60s or 70s or 80s as or 90s. I mean, I see more and more people just taking a hold of that and really, people will ask me, am I too old to do this program? And they're, in their late 60s and 70s. I was like, hell no. Why would you? Because you're at your prime. You're so wise. You have so much. But if you're being stuck in this idea that it's too late, it's not too late.
No, I
It's
think that's
just
what
the
happened
beginning.
for me, because the words you say, and it kind of like, yeah, I have a quarter of a century, to live, and or
Yes.
longer, and I'm not invisible.
Yeah.
I live my life, and I want to live it healthy, and I want to do a lot of things. So
Yeah.
you rekindled that in me.
Yeah.
For I was dreading getting old and all of these other things, but it's a beautiful part of life, and we should embrace it.
I agree. 100 is the new 60.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
Lisa, thank you. This has been a joy, and you've brought up some very inspiring things. I hope everybody, our listeners, feel inspired. And if you're in your 30s or 40s or 50s, so you have nothing but wonderful things to look forward to.
absolutely. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you so much for being on the Then Thinking podcast.
Thank
Wow,
you.
thank you, Lisa. That was so inspirational. And if you're interested in making your own transformation this coming week for the summer, coming into the summer days, I am offering the self-study version of the shift with over $800 worth of bonuses, including my Shift Weight Express download. I'm offering it this week, so go check out the show notes and get going. If you click the link, there's a whole page of information, lots and lots of information explaining everything you get and how the process rolls out. Alrighty then. So, you, beautiful you, have a great week. And remember that the key, and probably the only key to unlocking the door of the weight struggle, is inside you. So keep listening and find it. Do you want to dive deeper into the mindset of long-term weight release? Head on over to www.shiftweightmastery.com. That's www.shiftweightmastery.com, where you'll find numerous tools and resources to help you unlock your mind for permanent weight release, tips, strategies, and more. And be sure to check the show notes to learn more about my book, From Fat to Thin Thinking, Unlock Your Mind for Permanent Weight Loss.